This is great. I've been looking forward to driving the Suzuki Jimny for a while, and I finally got one in on test. Now I'm here to see Kevin, and I think he's got something really interesting on test as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got. I think that might be him now.
What are you doing?
What are you doing with that?
What are you doing?
I didn't know you were getting a Suzuki.
I didn't know you were getting a Suzuki.
But I've been wanting to try a Suzuki Jimny for quite a while. In fact, all the way from back in the Middle East when they were launched there. You know, these were so popular,
yeah.
The first batch sold out before they even got to the showroom.
Yeah,
and in fact, the grey market is packed full of these.
Yeah.
So popular.
They're so popular here too, there's actually a waiting list in the UK.
I can believe it. They're really funky, really cool looking. I think I got the right colour though.
I think you got the right colour, Shahzad. I think I'm happy with this little grey colour.
No. It needs to be in a bright, funky colour. So are these really the same car? Is that a 1.5?
This is a 1.5.
Manual gearbox?
Manual gearbox.
Part-time all-wheel drive?
Absolutely.
Heated seats?
Of course, my friend.
They are the same car. Okay, so we both managed to get
I'm not going to go in any car without heated seats.
That's true, you like your heated seats, don't you?
I like my heated seats.
Yeah. Oh my god, and look at your number plate, koala. It's almost like koala. It's the same, isn't it, pretty much?
It's the
I
same.
got P at the end of mine. Oh
I don't know. We've got some good synergy. This is
we do.
What are we going to do?
I don't know. What were you planning to do this weekend with that car then?
I had loads of plans for it. I actually planned to go out in the country.
Oh really?
Yeah, be a real country farmer.
You know what? I wasn't planning to go anywhere. I'm going to be around town.
All right.
So why don't we do that?
Okay, you do town, I do country.
I'll do town, you do country. We'll see what we think of it in those particular environments.
Yeah, why not?
That sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. My friend.
Let's do it. So before we take it out into the urban jungle, let's take a closer look at it. It's a very pure and traditional design. It is just a box, very squared off. And talking of traditional, it's body on frame construction, just like all the old off-roaders, right? Now, here we get these butch extended wheel arches. Now in Japan you do get a base model without those. That's to fit their tiny car rules, you know, the K car that they have there. So it doesn't get the wheel mounted on the back and it doesn't have the wheel arches. It is tiny, and you really notice that in the context of the city when you compare it to other cars or when you're just standing next to it. The whole thing is less than 3.5 meters in length, and if you look at it at the front here, it's essentially a square because the height and the width is about the same at 1.7 meters. The ground clearance, by the way, is 210 millimeters. Now, this is the 1.5, is the top of the range car, so it's the SZ all grip model. It's got part-time four-wheel drive, mated to a 4-cylinder engine here, as I mentioned, a 1.5, 100 brake horsepower, 95 pounds for the torque. 5-speed manual on this one, though you can get it with an automatic. Has a top speed of 90 miles an hour and a 0 to 60 time of sometime, hopefully. So, but it is light though. It weighs just over 1100 kilograms. Now the fuel economy on the combined cycle officially says 35 miles per gallon, but I've been getting well over 40 driving it around town and on the motorway as well. Now prices for this one are £18,500, although the SZ4 starts at £16,000. I love this two-tone roof. It's got this sort of corrugated steel top to it and this rain gutter. Notice the aerial is just on one side. So it's small, but is it practical? Well, one thing you got to keep in mind is that this door, which is side hinged, needs a lot of space to open. And once you're in here, that's all you've got, that much there. So that's barely enough for your shopping. So really, it's not really practical in terms of cargo space with the rear seats up. But if I take this little lever and pull them down, little cord here, and push these seats down, in that case, it like turns into a little van. There's now tons of room in there. However, then it's a two-seater. I say it's a two-seater, but are these rear seats actually usable? Well, let's find that out next. Okay, so I am 6'2", and okay, I can get in here. Let's see if I can put the seat back. But if you put a normal adult in there, it's a little bit tight. I've got headrests here, which I think that's, there you go. Wow. So actually I can just about fit, but at 6'2", honestly speaking, I'm not very comfortable in here. I think like for regular size adults, in the front and the back, you could probably get away with it on short journeys, and maybe for 2 kids, you could get away with it. But if you're long-legged and you're sitting in the driver's seat, forget about anybody sitting behind. A little bit more space would be appreciated. No such problems with the front of the car. It's got a big, wide opening door, and in fact you notice that you step into this car, you don't climb up into it and you don't fall down into it and have to hoist yourself out. Now for a lot of people, say an aging population that may have problem with their knees and stuff, that's a real consideration. So in terms of a city car, this one is very easy to get in and out of. It is actually very spacious here in the front, and a huge amount of glass, particularly on the side door here. If I just turn it on, you'll see that I can actually drop this window, it's automatic to go up and down, and put my elbow on it, which is perfect for that summer cruise, right? This is very well equipped. In addition to the electric windows that you've seen, you've got electric mirrors over here. I've got heated seats, and certainly the driver's seat heats up very, very quickly. I will say that it needs a little bit more storage space down here, because it'd be good, you can put the USB phone, plug it into there, but this tray is too small for your phone. There's a little box here and 2 cup holders here, but it'd be nice to have something right here next to this lever here, which is for the 4-wheel drive. So 4 high, 4 low, that's selectable through there. That's your manual gearbox. You've got your AC controls down here, and it's pretty much climate control, so that's great. AC vents are there. I love this extra grab handle here. Again, that idea of off-roading. Steering wheel, you've got remote controls on the steering wheel, including voice control and your control for the stereo. There's cruise control and there's lane keep assist. It's got a digital center display with a trip computer, so it tells you your range and miles per gallon, all the rest of it. Then you've got a 4.2-inch touchscreen here, which is what the same system that all the current Suzukis have. It's very good to use, very straightforward. This one has sat-nav as well, but Apple CarPlay works very well with it. What I would say is that it needs a better stereo, honestly. I think it's only got 2 speakers, so if you're going to get one, you might really want to consider upgrading the sound system. Apart from that, let's go for a drive. So let's finally give it a little bit of a drive. Now, I have actually driven it on the motorway, and to be honest, it struggles above 60. Think about it, it's like a brick trying to cut its way through the air. And on B roads, it feels a little bit wayward, a little bit wobbly at higher speeds. But around town, to be honest, is where it really shines. I know off-road, I haven't done any off-roading in it, but I've read and heard and people have told me it's very good. But around town, I think, is where it really shines. It's very tall, so you're sitting as high as you would in a normal compact SUV, and it's very narrow. And again, in town, in northwest London, for example, width restrictions aren't a problem, tight streets aren't really a problem. You think about, for example, the wheels are 15-inch on this, and the tires have a massive sidewall, which again is good for off-roading, but that also means that curbing isn't an issue, and those width restrictions are scary ones, they're not an issue either. Now, talking of those tires and the suspension, the ride is very soft. Again, on a fast B road, it could be a bit unnerving, but over here, like I said, it's just absorbing these little potholes, these little ruts, no problem at all. You can feel them, but it's not uncomfortable. It's very nicely smothered and very soft. So again, the ride is very good. As for the body lean, which again, on a faster road is a little bit much, but again, here in the town, you're never actually going that quick for that to be an issue. And yet you can actually throw this thing around. The handling actually is pretty good. The performance, you have to really work the gearbox to get the performance out of it, which is no problem because the clutch is light and the gearbox is very slick and very, very distinct and very easy to use, so that's not a problem. You do have to think about if you're going to try and pull out of a junction or pull onto a roundabout or pull out to overtake. You have to just think about that a little bit before you do it. But honestly, in city traffic, it's never found wanting. I've never found it to be, I wouldn't say it's slow, I wouldn't say it's fast, but I wouldn't say it was slow. It hadn't really been that much of an issue. So again, the ride is good, the handling is good, performance wise is okay. So overall, it's a very easy car to drive. Now, the thing about it is that it's got this body on frame construction, and it has that old school feel about where you're sort of floating on top of the chassis sort of thing. In fact, when you're pulling away, sometimes you do feel that car lift like old school off-roaders used to do. In fact, this is how wobbly this thing is. It's so much fun. But I gotta say, I like it. It's quirky, it's fun, it's enjoyable, and you know, I think that's the main thing about it. Now, I would, bear with me, but I would say this is like a Morgan on stilts. I know what you're thinking. He's lost his mind. He's lost his mind. But think about it. A Morgan, you feel really connected with the car. It's an old school drive. drive, everything is back to basics, and yet you know it's a modern car, you know it's well built, you know it's going to be durable. Certainly this thing has got all the mod cons. It feels very reliable, it feels really solid, and yet it feels like I'm really connected to the drive, so I'm really getting a kick out of it. So, you know, I've really been enjoying it around town. I wonder how Kevin's been getting on with it.
Right, so we're going to have a bit of a cross-country drive now. Let's see how it performs on these B roads. Done a nice little bit of light and slightly heavier off-roading with the car, and straight away I'm enjoying the gear change. It's quite fun actually, a nice little slick up and down 5-speed box, works well. The gear ratios are actually quite well sorted, so I found I was getting about up to 70 miles an hour in third gear on joining the motorway to get here, which is pretty good. Now these conditions here are very, very wet. There's lots of hidden puddles. It's sort of fairly poor work surfaces, and what I'm noticing with this car is it's pretty bumpy and you can really feel the height. So with this high geared steering, it sort of requires minimal effort, but it's got long travel before you actually get any reaction from the car. So you've got to be mindful of that when you're threading in and out of B roads like this, because you know, you've got to make sure you keep the car accurately on your side of the road, and also account for, you know, be mindful it's bumpy, and it's clear that this car has got an off-road bias, even though we do think it will be for relatively mild off-road use in many cases, pretty much like what we've done with the car. But if you drive the car within its limitations, it's actually quite fun. It's actually quite high effort. You've got nice travel through the gears. I'm now pressing on a little bit, nice slick 4th to 5th, and it's actually fun. You know, I'm smiling, I'm genuinely smiling, and that's what this car should really be about. Should all be fun. Why would you need to heel and toe? But you know what, I'm having fun at the moment, so that's good. Tight right bend here in the wet, enjoying that too. You don't really want to push it too far, because even though the grip levels are high, you will tend to find that because the vehicle itself is watch this, we go whoa to a big puddle here. Wow, that was fun. Again, it didn't even perturb the car in the slightest. That's why I believe I'll be buying a Suzuki Jimny. What makes me smile is that I'm buying this car and I'm not spending the sort of money I'd have to spend for a big time Land Rover or something, or a Defender. You know, I'm actually spending about £18,000–19,000. So you've got to live with the fact that you are making, you know, a degree of compromise here. But it's on roads like this, it's just about enjoying low-speed driving, and listen to that, then changing gear, then onto the brakes, and then heeling and towing into second. I mean, come on, you shouldn't really be talking about that with a Suzuki Jimny. But hey, look, I'm going to have fun. So not only am I having fun, but this is a fashion statement too, because everybody seems to be looking at it. Then I can run around at reasonable economy, getting about 38 to the gallon, 45 pounds to sort of fill the tank, and that's still not too bad. So I've got this fashion statement, it's got great off-road capability too, and to add to it all, it's fun. So okay, I mean, for that I can live with the rather bumpy ride, I can live with the high geared suspension, but more than anything I'm getting enjoyment for my £19,000. And yes, it's got lots of flaws, this car. I reckon a lot of people will find it really hard to live with as their only car day to day, mainly because of the terrible ride quality. But hey, you've got to balance things in life. You've got to think about, what am I getting for my money? What can I use it for? What is it really good at? What can it do that a lot of standard vehicles cannot do, as we saw off-road? And it does those things well. So all in all, I'd give this a certainly balanced thumbs up.
So that's what he thinks of the car. So ultimate question, would I get this car? Well, to be honest, I would be very, very tempted, but there's a couple of things. If they upgraded the stereo, that's no biggie. Maybe a little console down here, that no biggie either. But what is a biggie, it's Suzuki, listen, if you could just extend the wheelbase a little bit and maybe put 2 extra doors in, I think it would be a no-brainer, because I got a family and I can't really, torture them with those back seats. But if you did that, honestly, for around town, Yeah, it would definitely be on my shopping list. And in fact, I wonder, even like this, I wonder why more people aren't buying them, because it's really got under my skin and it's really tempting. I know why more people aren't buying them. They can't build them fast enough. That's the problem, isn't it? So there you go. There's our review of the Suzuki Jimny. Hope you enjoyed that. Let us know what you think of the car, the review, us, whatever you like, above, below, or elsewhere in the comments. And we hope to see you again in the next one.